I had a very difficult time. Let me go back just for a second, trying to find pictures of this little baby. I was very lucky to be able to find the actual correct social media page. But this is gonna this story, particular story, very, very sad. And it's gonna have some elements of things that I talk about all the time. And I keep trying to bring this to people's attention. And I'm gonna tell you guys this, to anybody who listens to my video, don't think I'm crazy for the things that I'm saying. I promise you, I have a lifetime of experience, and the things that I say are not just coming out of the side of my neck. It is truly meant to try to help someone. It's meant to try to save a life, and it's meant to try to prevent dummies from making even more dumb decisions, okay? Before we get into the details, let's get it.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
And I'm getting this story from lawandcrime.com. That's where I'm getting this article from. So thank you to them. And thank you. Shout out to Ash and Emmy. And also give a happy belated birthday to Peachy Tea Time in the building. That's my sister, my friend, True Crime in the building. Okay. How many times have you guys heard me mention this? That men should not be fathers under what age? 30 years old. I don't know if that looks right on the screen. Should it be this or this? I don't know. 30 years old. Men should not be fathers under the age of 30 years old for a plethora of reasons. Women should not be mothers under the age of 25 years old. If you're willing to listen with an open mind and an open heart, you won't get mad about what I'm saying. But I think that this thing is trending very, very badly. This baby didn't even make it, but what, how long? A few weeks? There's a 19-year-old mom in Washington State that allegedly filmed herself. And I think if they got it on camera, then it wasn't alleged. I'm sure they actually have proof of that. But she filmed herself dancing to upbeat music for a TikTok video in the bathroom of her infant son's hospital room. Let me say that again. She was filming an effing TikTok video in her son's hospital room. If you ask me, that's not just young mentality. That's not just what young people do. Sometimes just that thing on the inside of you should just tell you when some things are just not appropriate to do. You shouldn't have to be told. You shouldn't have to be taught. You should just automatically understand that when people are sick or dying or injured, that ain't the freaking time to be in there acting a fool and having fun, especially when it's your own kid. Am I wrong for saying that? Or are there some people out there in the chat that want to give this young mother the excuse of saying, well, Jay, she was young. You remember what it was like to be 19 years old. Yeah, and I also remember being 18, 17, 16 and still having enough wherewithal to behave like I have some sense in places like churches and in places like hospitals. You just can't be that level of dumb, okay? She was filming herself while in her son's hospital room while the critically injured baby laid nearby suffering from abusive head trauma that will ultimately cost him his life. So he did not survive. So I want y'all to think about the fact that this dumb 19-year-old broad, don't say she's a kid. She is, look, once you become a parent, throw all of that kid shit out the window. Everybody understand kind of where I'm coming from? You are no longer a child once you start producing children, men and women. Everybody catch that? Look at this fat, sorry, son of a gun. We'll get to him here in a minute. Alyssa Jade Vanderbeck and Mark Anthony Labeco Clamore. Let me get his fat butt back up on the screen. Look at this fat, sloppy turd. The boy's 21-year-old father, I repeat, 21 years old. They are now facing felony charges in connection to the death of their 2-month-old son. Prosecutors charged Clamore with second-degree murder and second-degree assault of a child, and the mother, Vanderbeck, is charged with second-degree murder, criminal mistreatment, according to a report from the news. The couple called 911 to their home on Wednesday. And if y'all have any disagreements, type it in the chat. You say she gets no grace? What's up, Rita? How you doing? Good to see you. Does anybody want to have any grace before we keep going? Anybody feel sorry for this mother? So I don't see that happening yet, but we got a ways to go. The couple called 911 to their home on Wednesday, March 4th, to report that their 2-month-old son was not breathing. Medical personnel rushed the boy to the pediatric intensive care unit at Mary Bridge Children's Hospital for treatment. Doctors attempted to save the child, but he died about 5 days after being admitted to the facility. I don't even understand why you would think that I want to be entertaining while your son is in the goddamn hospital. Entertain who? You have fans? These people are just another level of stupid. Your newborn, and I'm assuming first child baby, is injured. Just weird folks, man. Medical experts told police that the infant had suffered a series of devastating injuries. Doctors found bleeding in the infant's brain and eyes, along with multiple fractured ribs, according to a report from a Seattle-based news studio. From the news. Anyway, let's keep going. Based on a review of the available medical evidence, this presentation is consistent with abusive head trauma. I think this man beat this baby to death and was really, really rough handling this kid. Maybe both of them were. But they have abusive head trauma as one of the causes. A social worker reported the baby's injuries to law enforcement as possible child abuse. Prosecutors told the court the injuries ruled out sudden infant death syndrome, so that's not a possibility. This is not a case of SIDS, which is a sudden infant death. A prosecutor reportedly said during their arraignment on Thursday. This was ongoing abuse of a vulnerable infant. An officer also noted that under the circumstances, the parents were allegedly acting odd, describing their demeanor as unusual, considering the gravity of the suspected offense and the condition that their child was in. Again, probably her making TikTok videos while her kid is effing dying. Yeah, that might be suspicious. Investigators later reviewed social media activity as they worked to reconstruct the timeline leading up to the baby's death, revealing additional concerning behavior. While her son was fighting for his life due to the critical injuries, investigators said that Vanderbeck, the mother, the girl, the woman, posted a video to TikTok depicting herself dancing in the bathroom of the baby's hospital room. The video reportedly features Vanderbeck dancing to what they call upbeat music. Prosecutors reportedly referenced the video in court while describing the parents' actions during the period when doctors were treating the baby for severe trauma. So to me, if you ask me, that just sounds like they didn't care based on their actions. They don't seem like they care. Don't seem like they're concerned. In an interview with investigators, Clamore allegedly said that the baby was being fussy. This is the father. He said that the baby was being fussy when he tried to feed him. And what did he do? He picked up the child in a jerking motion. He allegedly added that he said, "Why you crying, boy?" as he jerked back pretty hard with the baby. Another thing that I talk about a lot. I find it very weird that these people who put themselves in an adult situation, these are adults, they had sex, and most everybody who's not a goddamn idiot knows that when you have sex, there's a high probability you could produce children. When you produce children, you have to take care of them. Well, one of the things that children are going to do is what? They're going to cry. They're going to make noises. They're going to need to be taken care of in a very delicate fashion. It always surprises me when people get upset that babies cry, and I'm like, you know what? That's like number one on the effing list. It's like number one. Is it not? We got some mothers, we got some fathers in the chat. Y'all tell me, any parents out there? I've been through it 2 times over, even more, because I've also raised my daughter's little sister. So I'm like her father also. So that's my step baby. I've raised 2 kids at the same time, and they cried a lot. That is what they do. It takes time and it takes a lot of patience, and that's why it's not meant for us to do this by ourselves. But they weren't even doing this by themselves. They were together. They were in a relationship, from what I understand. That is number one on the list. They're going to cry. And this is why maybe people like in high school need to have like those little dolls, and all those dolls do is cry and cry and cry. And you got to deal with it. Got to handle them. Because it's trying to get you ready for the real world, or let you know that you don't need to be putting yourself in a position where you're going to be a parent. This is why I believe that men need way more time than women do, in my humble opinion. Number one, because if you wait later in life, men, I think 35 to 45 make way more money. They start hitting their financial stride after 35 years old. And some of y'all ladies can attest to that. If y'all dated a man that was under 30 years old, what man have y'all dated that had all their shit together financially? Anybody? Ladies? They generally don't. That don't mean all, and it never means all, and no, the hell I ain't never talking about all, right? I shouldn't even have to say that. The majority of men are not financially or emotionally ready to be parents or be in a relationship under the age of 30 years old. That is a great reason. Those are 2 reasons right there why men shouldn't be fathers under the age of 30. But let's keep going. The duo further said that when they realized that the baby was distraught, they may have panicked and shaken him in an effort to stimulate him. They may have. No, they did. Stupid ass people. Doctors later determined the injuries matched those commonly seen in cases involving violent shaking or blunt force trauma, according to this outlet. The parents also waited about an hour. Let me say that again. They waited an hour after noticing that their son was acting unusual before seeking medical assistance, calling friends and family members before they even called 911. The parents are currently being held in Pierce County Jail on a bond of $1 million. I like the bond. I just think these are just not very bright people at all. Okay, let me give you guys the fair usage and we'll go from there.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Y'all make sure and get y'all some Rise Mushroom coffee, by the way. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. If you guys have a disagreement in the chat, anybody, I'll be willing to chat with you about this. But post it in there, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. Here we go. We only got 2 news videos. It's really quick.
Lakewood mother and father say they're not guilty of the death of their 2-month-old child. The 2 appeared in court today after their baby died earlier this month in the hospital. Alyssa Vanderbeck and Mark Anthony Labaco Claymore are both charged with 2nd-degree murder. Court documents say they were arrested after their stories didn't line up with the baby's injuries. Hospital staff also described the parents' behavior as unusual. Bail for Vanderbeck and Claymore is set for $1 million each.
Two Pierce County parents are being held on a $1 million bail tonight, accused of murdering their infant son, who was just 7 weeks old. The couple appeared in court today after their baby died in the hospital. Doctors say the boy suffered severe head trauma. KOMO's Tyler Cunnington live tonight in Pierce County after reviewing court documents and speaking with police. Tyler?
Yeah, well, Lakewood police say this is just a tragic case, one that leaves a mark on their officers. And it was a case that landed those two young parents in the courthouse behind me today after doctors, officers, and prosecutors all believe that their weeks-old child died allegedly at their hands. 19-year-old Alyssa Vanderbeck from Lakewood. Very emotional as she faced a judge for a second-degree murder charge following the death of her weeks-old infant son.
Ma'am, is your correct name Alyssa Jade Vanderbeck?
Yes, ma'am.
Her husband, 21-year-old Mark Claymore, facing 2 counts of second-degree murder for what prosecutors say includes domestic violence for a vulnerable victim. It comes after Lakewood police spent several days investigating an infant boy that had been brought to Mary Bridge Children's Hospital in Tacoma on March 4th. Doctors noting the boy had suffered oxygen deprivation to the brain bleeds, and had 2 rib fractures, injuries that were, quote, consistent with abusive head trauma.
He had some severe injuries that they didn't know the exact cause from, but didn't think they were accidental.
Lakewood police then interviewed the young couple. Mark Claymore, the father, telling detectives on the morning of the 4th the child had become increasingly fussier and started crying before he picked the boy up somewhat forcefully, saying, "Why you crying, boy?" while moving the infant in a jerking motion where the child's head jerked back pretty hard. Soon after, Mother Alyssa woke up from a nap, and the couple took a shower as the boy slept. But once they got out, they noticed he appeared weak, making grunting sounds with irregular breathing. The couple says they panicked and shook him again. The two say they took videos of their son, asking family and friends what they should do before calling 911 30 to 60 minutes later. Detectives noted during interviews Claymore was emotional, tearful at times, and appeared exhausted. He explained to them he was stressed due to finances, housing, unemployment, and exhaustion from childcare. And pending further examination, prosecutors say those charges could be upgraded to homicide by abuse. The two remain in jail on those $1 million bonds each, and as co-defendants, they have a trial tentatively set for May of this year. Reporting live here in Pierce County tonight, Tyler Cunnington, KOMO News.
I mean, do y'all hear this? And they said that they thought the solution, shake the baby some more. What? That makes no sense. So imagine this. Imagine if you had, let's just say if this were a bottle of Pepsi, because I'm not a Coca-Cola fan, but I'm a Pepsi fan. And you took this bottle and you shook it up. And then you just open it up real quick and it starts spilling out all over the place. What would you think to do? Would you think to, you know what, let me take this fucking thing and I'm going to shake it up some more while it's sitting there going all over the damn place? You'd be like, no, maybe I shouldn't have shook it in the first damn place. And that's just a bottle of theoretical soda, let alone a human child. You wouldn't do it to a dog. You wouldn't do it to a parrot. You wouldn't do it to a turtle. You wouldn't do it to a fish. Again, if you didn't want to be parents, there's ways of going about doing that. There's Safe Haven where you can give your kid up. You can give your kid up for adoption even after that. You can also use contraceptives. You can use preventatives. You can use condoms. Or you could just not have no sex at all, especially since both of y'all are quite unattractive. I mean, I don't know why 2 unattractive people are having sex. I mean, it's just my personal opinion. They had a beautiful little baby, but this man, I don't know what he looks like. This man looks like he got into like a fight, like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and just got his ass whooped. Like, I don't know what he looks like. He literally looks like he was playing like, he was like the catcher in baseball, but he didn't have no catcher's mitt, and they just threw the ball and it just kept smacking him in the face. That's like what it looks like to me. He kind of reminds me of like a Chinese, what do you call him? Joe Frazier in the face. He looks like a Chinese Joe Frazier, does he not? And I'm going to call something out about this. You think this woman is sad about her kid being dead? You think she's sad? No, she's not. She's crying. That don't mean she's sad. Let me show y'all this real quick. At the house alone with no way of leaving or anything, feels so alone. That is from, I believe, to be her Facebook page. Want to throw that out there since I already had the screenshot. What she's doing, that body language is called self-soothing. Self-soothing, right? She's only worried about herself, her feelings, her judgment, her punishment. Not worried about this kid at all. If this kid could die and she have no punishment, promise you she wouldn't be crying. She wouldn't be tripping. She'd be like, all right, cool. I'll just go make another one. I don't understand how you could have such a beautiful baby, a life that could grow up and become anything. Every individual child that we lose could have been anything, and we're not going to stick around and try to find out. We're not going to treat these babies in a manner that maybe that's just the curiosity in me. I look at the light in these babies' eyes, and some of y'all know that I'm actually a teacher. I don't even know if I can share it with you because I don't want nobody trolling me or getting a hold of my job information or nothing like that. But I teach kids. I'll say that. Young kids. I teach young kids. I look at them in their eyes, and it's just like, I look and I'm like, wow, this kid has so much promise. These kids have so much promise. I wonder what they're going to go off and go become. This is going to be our next surgeon. This is going to be our next coach. This is going to be our next, firefighter. This is going to be our next Marine. This is going to be our next astronaut. This is going to be our next something, our next leader of something. Maybe even our next coach. Maybe even our next teachers. But will we even get, that's why it matters so much to me. I'm literally watching my own kids. Shout out to my kids because they graduate here, I think next month. I got the dates written down. I know that sounds crazy, but they graduate next month and they graduate 2 weeks apart from each other, right? So, because they go to prom this month and then they graduate next month. So I'm very proud of my kids. I'm excited for their journey. These are my own babies. I love to see stories like this where this child grows up and becomes something great and say, wow, that is so cool. And these people just don't love. And I think that if you don't love, if you don't have that in your heart, then maybe you should avoid any actions that would create children, in my humble opinion. I got a lot of beautiful pictures of this baby. We will make sure to post a tribute and homage. So to this baby, young Prince, R.I.P. Look at this. They got, what's so sad, they got all these clothes up here. And I remember changing my baby's clothes out. We had a lot of them. This baby didn't even get an opportunity to get changed into all of these outfits. How crazy is that? That's how quickly that life ended. So RIP. But I hope these people get a life sentence in prison. If they don't get that, they need more than enough time in prison that at least, maybe they need to be chemically castrated. Maybe that needs to be an option because they don't need to be. They're just some people that are never fit to be parents. Hashtag TTO, hashtag TTT. I think there would be two candidates that don't need to ever have kids, never get an opportunity to be around kids again. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you. Let's go to our next story. Let me see. So do I teach pre-K. Shout out to Jazzy Sims. My pre-K teacher is in the building. I see you. Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, you know what? Maybe I better not reveal what age group that I actually teach. But just know it's pretty cool. It's really cool and it's fun. Just know that I really, really enjoy them. And they enjoy the heck out of me. I know they don't be wanting to listen sometime, but hell, this ain't, this ain't a democracy. I'm the parent. And I'm the leader, and y'all just got to listen and go in my direction. That's what it is. I'm not about to debate nothing, right? With kids, you don't have to inflict damage. You just have to project strength. That's it. You just got to stand on business with kids. It's very simple. You ain't got to beat them. You ain't got to punch them. You ain't got to choke them or starve them. Just be the parent. Remember I said that. What's up, Michelle? How are you? Anybody else? If I missed you, what's up, Andrea? And anybody else, y'all type something in that chat so I can shout you out. What's up, Genevieve? What's up, Baby Blue Eyes channel member? I see you. We still got Peachy Tea Time. Y'all make sure and sub to her channel. Let me post her link in there. She not going to post it. She ain't going to do it. I wish she would, but I will do it for her. Because I want you guys to go sub. If you have not subbed to Peachy Tea Time, please let me know when you do. Uh-oh, did I do that wrong? Damn it. Hold on. I did it wrong. Peachy. Come on. Let's try it again. There we go. I did it again. That's okay. Sub to that link. That's the link. I was trying to type her name in there. Let her know in the chat when y'all sub if you haven't already subbed to her channel. We want to continue to make sure and supporting each other. We want this community to grow together, okay? What's up, Carolyn? How are you? It's all good. I got you. I got you. What's up, Jazzy Sims? Any content creators in the chat? I know Dippy is usually here, but Dippy's not here right now. My boy Chris Thorns. Matter of fact, shout out to Molly Go Lightly. She's back doing her thing on YouTube. Y'all know that's my friend. That's my buddy right there. All right, let's talk about this. I actually teach a kid who looks exactly like this baby here. Let me show y'all. That kid right there, beautiful little kid. If anybody wants to donate, which I did not post that link in there, and I do apologize if y'all missed that. If y'all want to send any contributions into the chat, you can do it right there. We have Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, and Patreon. Patreon is one time a month. We did get one more person to sign up on Patreon, so I appreciate that. But as they come in, I will make sure and shout you out. I need to give another big shout out to my friend. Where's she at? Where's Rita at? Rita, are you still there? Thank you, Rita. She said, keep up the amazing work. And I'm going to tell y'all, man, Rita's more dope than you know. Rita, if you're listening from the bottom of my heart, thank you for supporting me the way that you do. Like, it means more to me than you know. Big time love. So shout out to Rita. So we have a cash out from Rita. And we have a cash out from Reese 3002. Appreciate that. All right, let's get it in. Let's talk about this story here. Yep, already got it up. The picture of this baby right here reminds me of one of my students, such a sweet little kid. And it's like, I look at you could just look at some of these kids and just tell how awesome that they could be. If you just give them the opportunity to grow up, just give them a chance. I just think that we have to have less crappy people, less crappy parents, more punishments, harsher sentences. And if y'all don't want to be parents, then don't involve yourself in activity that will make them. Like, it's just really sad. And we want to pay tribute and homage to that angel right there, to Sarai. But let's get into the details. We'll go from there.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
So I'm pulling this information from Law and Crime. So Law and Crime is back on their thing, I promise y'all. Make sure and look them up on their website as well as on YouTube. They do an amazing job. So a Washington State toddler, and her name is Sarai, S-A-R-A-I Brooks. That was the angel that you guys saw on my screen. Not him. Right there. That's Sarai. This toddler showed up at daycare with black eyes and other injuries, including bite and burn marks that were indicative of repeated prolonged abuse that her mom's boyfriend, was unleashed upon her. But the workers did not report it as required by law, a local jury ruled this week. The child later died from abuse. So let's go ahead and call out all of the people that failed here. First and foremost, the mother and the father. That's not a father. That's not even a man. That's not even a human. That's a whole bitch right there, okay? Just want to throw that out there. This man is a bully, and whatever happens to him in prison happens. He beat up a baby, from what we understand. Beat a baby. I don't understand how anybody could ever respect that or defend it. Mom's boyfriend, and I want you guys to also understand that this is a toddler, probably be between the age of what, 2 and 3? 2 years old. Not even 40, let me see, 12, 24. And you're 2 years and you're already on to the next man. And what I don't understand, and I'll say this a couple different ways, how you can care so little about your own wife. She's sitting there crying, fake crying. It's all fake. You're crying, making it seem like you're sad for your kid dying. No, you're not. Because I don't understand how you can care about your kids so much, but yet the very next man that you bring into your kid's life, yep, you get to be the dad too. No vetting, no background checks, no nothing. And you just let this man take over the duties that you wouldn't probably even let the biological father do, or why not just give up custody? It's like you won't do that. Give up custody. You won't do that. Hashtag babies for benefits. And I need to take a pause for the cause. Oh my goodness, look at this. And you gifted yourself a channel membership. Now that is cool right there, and you deserve it too. That is actually dope. Let me say thank you to Rita. Rita, man, I'm going to tell y'all how dope she is. And I'm going to tell y'all something. 20 AFC podcast memberships is not an easy thing to do. And Rita is showing some big time love. And YouTube decided to show her some love right back. That's how the universe works. So she now has a channel membership. Duck and Felonies, you now have a channel membership. If you're listening, guys, listen for your name. Bella I-26. Eden Dickens, you now have a channel membership. Who is that? Thanasia, you now have a channel membership. Carly Ann Lopfer, you now have a channel membership. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Sugar Bum, you now have a channel membership. Mega M8, A Blank State, Jeffrey H. Kaufman, Progress of the Process. I like that name. Let me see. Sid Vicious, Dreaming Further. Oh, who is that? Sumeg. Who is that? Bertha, I can't say the last name. Deluber. BO41ZEX, ZEX. Ari Moonchild. Who is that? Denise Chessmore. Starblitz. And Kelly Ganja. All of you guys, that's 19 people outside of Rita. That's 20 people total. Thank you, Rita, if you're listening. That is crazy, crazy love. And she did that before, man. So dope. 20 people. Y'all now have channel memberships. If you want to type in the chat, you got to be subbed to the channel, and you should be able to type in there. Maybe I'll just undo it. Should I just undo that? Because I don't want y'all coming over and thinking that you can't type. Let me try to fix that. Everybody who's here, let me try to fix it. I'm glad I'm able to finally catch you live. I appreciate all that you do. That is from Amanda Faye. If you're listening, thank you very much. And shout out to Amanda Faye. Appreciate you. Let me see if I can fix this chat real quick. If I can't do it here. Damn, I've already gotten demonetized on this video. I ain't even said nothing yet. I ain't even said nothing yet. Damn, YouTube, can y'all give me a chance to mess up? Goodness gracious. This is not suitable for ads. Blah. Let me fix it real quick. Hold on. Y'all give me a second. I know this is taking a while. I remember where I left off. Let me try to fix the chat. So this is going to be Anyone can chat. Let's do it like that. Rita made it possible. Shout out to Rita. Anybody can send a message. Even trolls, but don't troll me because I will block your ass. That's for damn sure. All right. So now anybody can chat. You ain't even got to be subbed. You can chat. Here we go. Let's keep going. The most painful part of this case is how profoundly preventable it was. And again, we can go back to talking about how this started with the biological mother and biological father. For some reason, they didn't work out. And then she gets the next man and then think that, oh, you don't have to earn, your right to be in my kid's life. I'm going to just give you that right because I want to sleep with you. I want to be with you. So that automatically means that you're going to be a good, suitable father. That's stupid. Okay? That is very, very stupid to just trust a man just because you're going to trust your body. And I think that's even crazier, the fact that so many women, and I want y'all to hear me, it's so crazy the fact that we have so many women that are out here catching STDs while y'all trusting y'all bodies, knowing that you catching and getting burned, and you still let these men around y'all kids. Damn. Pedophiles and abusers. Y'all hit that thumbs up for me, please. Just think about that. Something to think about. And then on top of that, they saw the abuse. Everybody that works in DHS, childcare, teachers, your mandated reporters, they know this. And the fact that you saw that this baby was all beat up, didn't say nothing, y'all must have wanted her to die. That's clearly what you wanted. And I think that they probably should face prison time too. It was preventable. And that's according to civil attorney Ray Deary said about Sarai Brooks and her death at the hands of her mother's boyfriend, Agostino Maile, M-A-I-L-E, who is currently serving a 16-year prison sentence. It could never be enough time in prison. Maile and the mother, Jarmaine Baker, that's the mom's name, which I wish I had a clearer picture of her face. If y'all find a real picture of her face without the without that COVID mask on, make sure y'all send it to me because I couldn't find it anywhere. Both were charged in connection with the 2-year-old's abuse and slaying. Maile, which is the boyfriend, pleaded guilty in June of 2023 to manslaughter and a second-degree assault of a child for abusing Sarai's 2 brothers, while Baker pleaded guilty to first-degree criminal mistreatment and second-degree assault of a child. Sarai's estate filed a lawsuit against the Washington State Department of Children, Youth, and Families, DCYF, and Laughter Learning Centers in December 2024, claiming that the agencies and the Puyallup daycare that Sarai attended ignored clear warning signs of abuse and failed to take basic steps that would have saved Sarai's life. And that's according to a press release that was sent out by Deary Law Group. A Pierce County jury returned a $130 million verdict this week following a 5-week trial, finding that systematic failures across both child welfare system and that the daycare directly contributed to Sarai's death. We'll get back to that lawsuit here in a minute. What's up, B? They call me B. Shout out. I see you in the building. What up? What up? The jury, apportioned liability between the state of Washington and the daycare. Here's my question. $130 million is a lot of bread. Where is that money going to? If there are 2 surviving kids, which it shows that Sarai's 2 brothers, is it going into a trust fund for them? I didn't hear that. 130 million is life-changing, and yes, I believe that the 2 surviving kids should have trust funds of all of that money. Why would that money go to anybody else? We're going to start a foundation and a memorial fund and blah, blah, blah. And if you ask me, I just see too much monetary corruption going on in our world, and people talking about they're doing hospice and they're setting up. Oh, y'all heard about all of this fraud going on in all these different states. I ain't going to say no particular states because I don't want to trigger nobody and get all political. But it seems like whenever you have things like this where there's a large sum of money like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, you've heard about people embezzling all of this money and spending it selfishly. I don't understand what suing the state, suing the daycare, suing it, like how's that going to make anything better? They have insurance, you filed a claim, you win, you had that money. Now, how does that prevent the next kid from dying? How does that force the next person that sees abuse and makes them want to say something? How does that prevent the next mom's boyfriend from beating the kid's ass? Throwing money at a problem never fixes a problem. What are you going to build? A community center? Like a statue? Like what the fuck? Like am I tripping? Or am I just the dumb one? You know, I know you have the ability to sue and be right. And yes, they were wrong for, participating in this. But again, I don't see how giving them $130 million honors the memory of this baby or makes it any better for her brothers. I don't get it. Her estate complaint was obtained by the news saying employees at the school kids clubhouse daycare that Sarai attended did not report her injuries to law enforcement despite being mandatory reporters under Washington law. That's almost in every state. All it took to save this child's life was for one person to do their job, to call a social worker, a report from a mandated reporter, or any attempt at a follow-up by the state. Any one of those actions could have saved Sarai's life. And I agree. I just don't understand how $130 million needs to be given to whoever got access to it now. After pleading guilty to killing Sarai and abusing her brothers, Mayo, which is the boyfriend, this fat punk son of a bee right there, claimed at his sentencing that Sarai's death was an accident. The judge overseeing this case called it torture. Torture is not an accident. That's intentional. If I could give you more time, I would, Pierce County Superior Court Judge Angelica Williams told Mayo during the sentencing. Prosecutors said that Mayo, who's the boyfriend, abuse included biting the children repeatedly to the point where marks were left on their bodies. He burned them, breaking their bones and beating them. How is any of that an accident? The autopsy performed on Sarai found bruises on her face, arms, thigh, hands, her butt, feet, and behind her ears. She also had a possible hemorrhage on the spinal cord. On or about April 2021, Seattle Children's Hospital employees, agents, or ostensible, I don't know what that word is, agents informed DCYF that Sarai J. Brooks had scars, burn marks, bite marks, and other injuries that were consistent with non-accidental injuries, her estate legal complaint says. Baker had been in a relationship and or living with Augustino Mayo for approximately 2.5 years. And that Jermaine Baker, which is the mom, was allowing Augustino Mayo to regularly abuse Sarai. That's why I think they both deserve the same amount of time in prison. Pierce County authorities were called to the couple's home on March the 11th, where they found Sarai with blue lips and she was unconscious. She was foaming from her mouth, and bloody paper towels, bloody bed sheets, and fecal and urine-stained bleeding were found at the scene. That is a hell of a damn beating. An investigation was conducted and law enforcement learned that a restraining order, I want y'all to hear this, a restraining order had been issued in 2021 barring the boyfriend from having contact with Baker's children, including Sarai. So mom that whore did not care about her kids. Not that one. That whore. How could she care about her kids? And you had a lawful restraining order preventing him from having access to your kids, and you said, you know what? I love him, y'all. I love me some male, some Agostino male. I loves my man, y'all. And you love him more than you love your kids. Because his intention was to kill your kids, and he only was able to kill one. I want you guys to remember, this is a thug lion, not by way of his race, but by way of his actions. You take your kids. How many times have y'all heard me say this? Y'all are going to start to hear people say this in the media, but I want y'all to remember it came from the AFC, the Advocates for Children. You take your kids to the thug zoo. You place your kids in the thug lion cage. That thug lion murders and mauls your kids. And you think that you play no role in that, no part in that? It doesn't matter. What about what I was going through? I just watched it happen. You took your kids to the danger. The kids were already in a situation where the danger presented itself, where the thug lion had already attacked the kids. Then there was a court order that told you, don't have your kids around this motherfucking man no more. And what did this bitch do? Brought her kid around this man anyway. That is a special level of stupid. You could call it weak-minded, I feel you, however you guys want to characterize it. It's beyond dumb. Pierce County law enforcement conducted an investigation and found, among other things, that Agostino Male, which is the boyfriend, had consistently been violating the restraining order based on evidence easily gathered at the scene. They said easily, for a reason. The Pierce County medical examiner determined that Sarai's injuries were indicative of repeated, prolonged abuse and concluded that her cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Male, the boyfriend, was originally charged with homicide by abuse and 2 counts of second-degree murder, but those charges were dismissed and reduced to manslaughter as part of a plea deal that he received. Shouldn't even be possible, but whatever. That's the way the courts work. Sarai's father, Jalen Brooks, spoke at Male's sentencing, so let's hear from the biological father. She was 2 years old before Brooks exclaimed before standing silent in silence for nearly a minute before the judge. I just don't know what makes a person, a grown man at that, beat a 2-year-old. Still trying to figure that out. The civil verdict had been handed down this week, is the largest of its type in Washington state history. This verdict gives Sarai a voice. Sarai did not have a voice while this was happening to her. This jury made sure she has one now and made clear that when institutions fail children like this, there must be accountability. But here's the catch. Here's the mother freaking catch. They got $130 million, but didn't get no additional arrest. Why are those people that saw something and chose to not say something, why they're not doing prison time? How many people in the chat believe that those MFers should be doing prison time? Those daycare workers, those people, school teachers, whatever you want to call them, they should be individually doing prison time. Everybody that saw something and ignored it. Not just they won the lawsuit and everybody just moves on. It's not how that should work when a baby is dead.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
It's so sad. I was only able to find one news clip, but y'all do me a favor and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment if I say something. You know, I really hope that people don't just get sad and just cry. I really want people to start making a difference in real life. Make a difference in your households, make a difference in your neighborhood, your community, or even at the schools. That's where we can start to make a difference. And that's really where the AFC should be making an impact, right? We got to live the change that we want to see. Here we go. You said everybody involved should be penalized. I 100% agree. Absolutely.
It's been almost 3 years since 2-year-old Sarai Brooks was killed.
This is such a tragedy. A beautiful little girl who the state was aware was being abused.
She was found dead in March of 2022 at her Parkland apartment. Her mother's boyfriend was convicted of manslaughter, and her mother was convicted of charges including assault of a child.
The state dropped the ball. DCYF completely and inescapably, in my mind, dropped the ball.
Documents from DCYF show Sarai was found to have been physically abused by her mother's boyfriend back in 2021 and was taken out of her mother's care for around 6 months. She was then returned to her mother and died around 3 months later from blunt force trauma to the head. Now a lawsuit filed by the girl's grandmother says the state should have done more.
If they would have simply taken her out of the dangerous spot, which was with biological mom, with the boyfriend she was still seeing, Sarai would be here today.
DCYF documents show during a review of Sarai's death, a committee believed more emphasis was placed on the domestic violence experienced by the mother rather than the physical abuse of the children. In the lawsuit, Sarai's daycare is also accused of failing to help.
Sarai was showing up with signs of trauma. According to our investigation, those signs of trauma were seen by the workers at the daycare facility and reported to the director of the daycare facility.
The lawsuit claims the daycare did not report Sarai's injuries to authorities. The daycare, Love and Laughter Learning Center in Puyallup, sent King 5 a statement that said, "This is undisputedly a tragedy, but the claims in the lawsuit are entirely false." Sarai's relatives hope the lawsuit leads to change.
Obviously, we can't bring Sarai back, but we can fight for her. And the family wants to fight for her in her name and prevent this from ever happening again.
I reached out to DCYF today, but was told they do not comment on pending litigation. Now, in that review on Sarai's death that was handled by DCYF and how it was handled by DCYF, the committee did say that despite identifying opportunities for improvement in the system, the DCYF field staff did what they could with the available resources. In Parkland, Connor Board, King 5 News.
Look, I promise y'all, like, I watch my kids at school. If I was to ever see any level of something that I think is abusive, you usually will notice behind the ears, watch their eyes, their faces, their arms, marks. You know, my kids are so freaking cool. Shout out to my babies if they happen to watch this, because my kids are nosy as heck, man. They might look me up on YouTube, but they be showing me, I think they just like being around me, to be honest with you. Like, it hits me in a real special place. That's why I say I got a kid at the school that reminds me of that baby right there. Looks just like her. Beautiful smile and everything. They be showing me every little cut, every little scrape, every little bump, every little thing. And I'm like, you know what? I appreciate that. Because if I did see something that was suspicious, I would absolutely make sure you have to. It's your damn job. They train you to notice. They trained us to notice. So if you work at a daycare, you are trained to see this, to pay a freaking attention. You ignored it. You don't have the right to ignore it. You can't ignore it. It is your job. It's just that simple. Sarai, young princess, R.I.P. One thing that I can guarantee you is if I could have been in her life, I would have made sure and done everything I could to make sure that man didn't have access to her, and none of this would have happened to her or her brothers. But again, women like, not her, that's the judge. But women like this have to stop being so selfish and think so little of themselves that you're out there looking for love. And it's like you feel like you found happiness, or you know what? Go through this and don't have the kids. Why not give up custody? If you're going to be on the search for a man, matter of fact, I've said this before, and I want y'all to remember that I said this. Bookmark this. I've said that women with young children under the age of 15 years old, should not be dating. Hello. Women who have custody of their kids, your kids live at home with you, Why don't it apply to men? Because most men, most fathers don't have full custody of their kids. And the kids don't live with them because we're in a society where 80% of these kids are being born outside of wedlock. So we know there's a separation of those households. More times than none, the fathers have visitation. They do not have custody. Why? That's why I can say that. So yes, that puts a higher level of responsibility on the mother. You should not be dating if your kids are under the age of 15 years old. That should be your last focus. That man should never meet your kids that live under your roof. For what? If you marry him, now that makes him the legal father. Completely different. But these bitches like this are not marrying. They're shacking up. That's literally what that's called. Ladies in the chat, shout out to y'all. I see y'all. Shout out to my ladies. Tell them what I'm saying is right. It's harsh. You goddamn right it's harsh. Because I don't care about these women. I don't care about these men. I don't care about these fathers. What is DJ's concern? The kids. That angel. Sarai. That's who I care about. And everybody around her, it's her circumference and her circle, should care about her and her brothers. Anybody who fails to do that is flat out uncivilized, period. That's who I care about. And that's where the change needs to happen. Care more about the kids and stop being so damn selfish. To the father, if he wants to, the biological father, if he wants to give his side of the story and tell us why he wasn't in this kid's life or what his role was, we'd love to hear that. But at least we can get a different perspective, okay? But thank you guys so much for listening to Sarai's story. That's going to conclude this. Unless we can get the father on, Pops, reach out to us. Email address to afcmatters@gmail.com. Hit me up and we'll talk. Y'all leave a comment. Let me know what you think, okay? Thank you.